Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today on what is another absolutely beautiful day here in Hollandale Beach. 9 races on tap for you. Brian Nadeau, and we welcome Angela Herman back in, joining us here on what is a busy weekend and getting some sunshine down here.
It is nice break from Minnesota. 20 inches of snow down to record highs. It's going to be a wonderful weekend. It's Fountain of Youth Eve.
Yeah, Fountain of Youth Eve, and if you're not ready for tomorrow, 11 a.m. first post. If you're thinking about coming out, Silks will open at 10 a.m. We will remind you throughout the day on that 14-race card, but front and center here on the 9-race Friday card, the big doings, of course, the Rainbow Six. That kicks off in race 4. Ron Nicoletti will be with me for the opener. It is up to $1.5 million on a sequence that's got some spots where you can look for some prices in it.
Yeah, I looked a little bit later on into the turf races to try to find some prices, but I think that as we go on through the card, we're going to talk about some different ideas that we have as far as prices that you might want to find through that sequence. And the scratches, for once, didn't totally turn my picks upside down, so we'll see what we got.
Yeah, definitely some spots you can lean in, and maybe you can get a little creative. Of course, we're going to pay the Rainbow out Sunday, which should be an astronomical pool if it makes it there, but you got 2 days left to try to sweep this thing. $1.5 million today. There you see the graphic there, over $6 million. You know me, I always bet the over, and I think it'll be comfortably over that number should we get there. But that's Sunday, big day tomorrow. Big day here as well on a fast and firm day. And let's take a look at the opener here in my early pick 5. Well, on a firm turf course, Samantha will be out there. Angela will shift to the paddock. $16 play for me. I went too deep here, and then an interior 4x4 double. I lost my long shot on the card. That was number 1. No needs never in race 2. 4 deep in race 3 with Marissa on top for me. And then back-to-back singles. It's a leverage single with Ganado. We'll show a replay of his debut at Tampa Bay Downs, and then a much more likely single, I think, in Ghostly Night. Rohan Crichton off the claim. A $16 play, but back to the opener here, Angela, $20,000 maiden claimer. These are for fillies and mares 4 and up. We go a mile on the firm turf course. We've got them all the same, just spread around a little bit. Yeah. Spirit of Power for you, getting back, getting dropped for a little bit for Safi.
And I scratched into her because I did have Rita Marga on top. This is a big scratch from a pace standpoint because I thought she was going to be able to lead them most of the way, if not the entire race. Now, with Rita Marga out, it leaves the lead for the taking with perhaps the outside runners. I thought that Spirit of Power might be more involved in the pace this time, and that could be crucial for her on that class drop that you mentioned. And the price is frankly never going to be very high. I mean, she's 7-5 right now. I don't think I can expect much more by post time, but Spirit of Power on this turf course has run a race that would beat these, and that was 2 back in December.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. If she can get back to it, she's going to be tough in here. I thought Hot Bottom Girl ran very, very well in what was her first route on the turf, first route in general, and for Blake Kelly, and she's got some speed too. That should help her, especially with the scratch of Rita Marga.
And I thought that Hot Bottom Girl was one that I could incorporate into things, but that would need to take a step forward. And I'm not sure that the second start off the layoff against horses who have some foundation to them would be really the spot to dive in and sink your teeth into Hot Bottom Girl. But the price, I hope, will be higher than 3-1. She's taking a lot of money at the moment, and I'm sure seeing a lot of the same things that you did. Now, in between these two, I slipped Girlie the Butcher. She is what she is. She gets a lot of pieces. She pays for herself, no matter what surface you run her on or distance. I mean, she obviously likes this sort of thing, but there's been a lot of close and not the win quite yet. So it makes sense to go 6-3-2 and maybe just use those 3 in some of your verticals.
Yeah, and Claudio Gonzalez to get some improvement from Girlie the Butcher. Only run once for him on turf. We'll see what we get today. But yeah, I agree with you. 3-1 on Hot Bottom Girl. That's a little light for me. Early pick 4 time in race number 2. And Samantha will be out on the turf course for race number 1. But we'll take a look at her early pick 4 ticket here in race number 2. $27, no single on the sequence. She's got 2-3 here, and then a 3x3x3, pick 3 to get out of the sequence. It's not easy. She's got a little bit of a spread. Race 4 is a tricky one because, again, she's going to use Ganado as well, but there are other ways to go, and that's a horse that could be a decent price for Chad Brown. Nothing too crazy, but there are other ways you can go in there 3 deep to get out of that sequence as well, including Ghostly Night, who I have singled in my sequence. $27 for Samantha. Let's look back at this race now. We're going to route on the Tapeta here in race number 2. These are 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 3. The tag is 12-5 down to 10. Scratched a 1. That was my long shot in there. Scratched a 7 as well. You've got one that I don't have in my mix, Super Legacy, who I did have 4th, could have easily moved up a little bit.
And I thought that the scratch of Trismo greatly helped Super Legacy. Jose D'Angelo saw fit to scoop this horse up last time around off a second place finish. That would put him in the mix with this, and especially if Super Legacy can get the lead. That seems to be how he does his best running. And now that this horse does not have Trismo to his outside, he might only have one other pace competitor in T-ville to deal with. A lot of these other horses are far more comfortable taking back, and in a smallish field like this, you want to look for pace anyway. I think that this will compromise the price on Super Legacy, but lots of things point to him, and I really like the team of he and Jose Ortiz probably as a single on my tickets if I'm going to build pick 4s and 5s.
Yeah, they're 32% together, and Jose D'Angelo 24% off the claim. I went to his inside with, well, I scratch into now Cupid's Dude, the 2-horse. I thought got to the Tapeta last time, ran pretty well for Mike DiPaolo, who, you know, has won a couple races at the championship meet and has brought down some live horses too.
Yes, of course he has, and these horses have run better as they've got some conditioning on this surface. When they come down from Canada for the first time, I know that you and Samantha have talked at length about maybe giving them a start, and they have come to life accordingly when they've got a few more starts under their belts. I should mention that El Segundo, my second horse, is took a long time between his 2 all-weather starts, but ran very well in both of them, including that win last time around. Maybe this is just a horse that likes that particular surface, woke up last time, and can stack them back to back. He'll be a much better price than Super Legacy, and I guess if I didn't single him, that would be my immediate next consideration.
Jimmy Toner, another guy who hasn't started a lot at the championship meet, but boy, they are all running. He's got a long shot chance in one of the stakes tomorrow as well. Race 3, we are sprinting on the Tapeta. Snappy 5 here. Maiden Claimers, 3-year-old fillies, 35 is the tag. I'll start it with you. Your best bet of the day. We can bring up the stat, too, for Jane Sibeli, who's quietly done some really good things over the past couple weeks.
And she doesn't dip in very often for these Maiden Claimers, but she is 3 for her last 7, and both times that she took horses back and ran them in sprints, they won. Now, you know, drew the rail, not the most favorable thing. I guess as I look through this, I'm looking for Jose Ortiz to have a big day, but this filly drew the inside, probably should be able to stay in close range with Megan making money, and if that one tires, as she has in her 6 starts, you know can get a little bit more distance and keep herself in the race. The question will be whether she can handle this Tapeta and whether she handles the inside running, but I don't think that either one will be a significant hurdle for her, and the price should be right compared to some of the horses who are outside, including maybe Camilla and Megan making money, who should take some action on the board.
Yeah, it's a tricky race. It should be a wide open race as well, you know, and just to see the fact that Jane Sibeli claims one, it's not a move she does that often. She's put Jose Ortiz on several sharp winners. They popped the other day on the turf, I think, at 11-1. So this is worth noting. I do think the cup, I've been a little hard on, you know, I think the cutback will help her out in here. Marissa, I can't possibly imagine we're getting 10-1 on Marissa for Jose D'Angelo, the Hall of Famer, and the George Wolf winner, Javier Castellano. We'll talk about that later. I thought the debut was solid enough. Now, she's not going to be on the lead. She's not going to be dueling on the lead. She did it 2 turns on the turf last time. She might get run off her feet a little bit, and I don't think that's a complaint from me because she'll be outside that speed.
Yeah, nothing to keep between you and a closer, but Marissa was pulling last time when they started her out at 2 turns, so it makes sense to cut her back, let her use some of that natural speed, and not maybe pull in the early stages of the race so she can also keep herself in it. And when I move on from Marissa, who I did not use, I have to go to one of the Trombetta runners, but it's the unraced one. That's the 3, Ask Not What You Can Do. Irad Ortiz rode Camilla previously, her stablemate, but opts to go with this first-time starter. And while these 2 don't win a whole bunch together, they're just 1 for 27 over the past 5 years. 12 of those runners hit the board. Now, if this filly is ready to go at first asking, she's certainly found a good field to get her feet wet, but I put her in second, and I think that she'll provide a lot more value than my top pick, but Ask Not What You Can Do is one that you're going to want to get a look at out here in the paddock, too.
Homebred for Larry Johnson. That bullet 2 works back on the Tapeta, so she can run a little bit. We'll see what we get today. And I agree, Irad, you know, you don't like to play musical chairs that often, but it seemed, you know, he rode this Camilla in the past. Mike says, why don't you ride the 3? So 3 down, 6 to go on the 9-race Friday card. When we come back, $1.5 million in the gross jackpot rainbow guarantee. Ron Nicoletti's got a ticket. We'll take a look at it. Stay tuned.
This is a championship meet. Yeah. All the best jockeys in the world are here, and I'm excited to ride against them. We back. You get to watch some really incredible, talented athletes out there.
To us, it's a place to be in the winter.
I love Gulfstream Park because of the racing.
The palm trees, the beach is right here. The horse racing is some of the best in the country.
A lot of good horses come out of here. And if you want to go to the next level, Gulfstream Park was the place to come. I remember the first time I came to Gulfstream, it was like this big fairy tale place. All the history. And all these great horses, trainers, jockeys. It was everything that I ever dreamed of.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian Nato, Angela Herman joining me here on a strong 9-race card in the big doings, of course, as we kick off Fountain of Youth weekend tomorrow. And we'll remind you again, 11 a.m. first post. Silks, if you're popping out here, and we hope you do, it's supposed to be a beautiful day, by the way. Silks is going to open at 10 a.m. on that powerhouse 14-race card. But front and center here, as I hinted on before we went to the break, Rainbow 6-time in race 4, and boy, it is a situation now. $1.5 million in the gross jackpot guarantee. Ron Nicoletti will join me here for the opener. I better say I'll join Ron. I don't want to get
get it right.
Get him too mad here. We'll take a look at Ronnie's ticket here, and it's getting big, but he goes with the playbook, the 4320. That's what we like to see from Ron. 3 deep here. This is a tricky race, and I'll be interested to see it unfold because you can get creative in here. I don't think there's any doubt about that. His spread is in race 5. That's a tricky one. He goes 4 deep there in race number 6. That kicks off the late pick 4. 3 deep, and then he's a little more condensed in the middle of this sequence. He's got the 1, Here Comes Bullet. Joe DiBaggio is going to be tough in there, especially with the scratches now. Here's the single, and Ronnie's with me. I think he stole my pick. My best bet of the day is Judge Judith. Ronnie likes to do that a little bit. And then 3 deep in the finale. 1, 3, 4 for Ron, and I've got the 1 as well. Sinfiltre. That's the playbook, 4320. But I'll tell you what, and I've said this quite a bit, you are allowed to peel a few rubber bands off the bankroll because when you're talking about $1.5 million in the pool in and of itself, even if you're not going to sweep this thing, the pools have been huge, and that in theory leads to larger payoffs. And it's not going to be easy, Angela, to kick things off in race number 4, which is a maiden special weight for the 3-year-olds. Tricky race here. We land on the same horse. We're going to show the replay of Ganado, and I know you can talk about it a little bit.
Sure.
Not a lot of trouble, but I don't think it was ideal either. He's going to be in the yellow cap with the Peter Brandt Silks.
Well, and it was enough for the rider to lodge an objection. And even though nobody was taken down in this one, it was his first start, and he rallied between horses, didn't particularly have a comfortable spot with which to move. And even though, again, they left him where he was in second, this horse still galloped out way ahead of the winner and ran a winning race. You can see him in the yellow cap in between horses, now shifts to the inside, and there you can see him in the spotlight. The winner does come over a touch, never touches him, but herds him a little bit. And for a first-timer, you can find just about any reason why a horse would back out of things. He didn't do that. He still held well for second. Even though he was second best on the day, that was a good jumping off point. I don't like the 12 hole. I think that you and I saw this one the same, though. I know you singled this horse in your pick 5. Ron and Samantha spread, but not with too many. And I think if this horse didn't draw the 12, maybe they would have singled him too, but that's a big argument against him. If he runs that same sort of race, though, he'll at least be in the thick of things.
Yeah, and I think it's a positive that Chad Brown brings him over here for a big purse here, a homebred for Peter Brandt, and you know, there's some pedigree here as well. He should move forward off that, and okay, 65 buyer is not the fastest figure in the field, but we've seen a lot of these horses come in for Chad Brown and blow way up. Number 3, Jebby, is going to be a pretty square price for you. Kelsey Danner, 8-1 on the morning line. We're going to add Lasix as well.
Well, I was mostly towards the outside with my selections and looking for something that had experience, could pass horses, and save ground. Jebby fit the bill. He has not run since December, like you said, but Vasquez and Kelsey Danner are 4 for 24 together. The works leading into this are steady on the turf, and I think that if he returns as the same horse that we saw in December, he could throw some value into this race. I did take Jebby second. I took Scramble third. I would guess the Scramble would be your favorite by the time all is said and done. Has run 4 good races, but has lost 2 of them as the favorite. And those kind of horses stay underneath for me rather than putting them right on top.
I agree. They're just starting to add up. 0 for 4, ball 4 finishes have been underneath. He did run a big figure last time, and Santorini's going to run tomorrow in the Colonel Liam, so he probably comes out of a good race. He ran a fast figure that day, but you don't have to take an underlaid price on him. Mutaweed as well for Todd Pletcher, getting back to the turf, and he ran pretty well on the turf too back. It's a spread. It could be a spread race. I'm a little fortunate that I'm going to single Ganado, but there's going to be a lot of people playing this Rainbow Six that are going to be using a lot more than just the 12, and it has the look of a race where you're allowed to get creative. Late pick 5 time in race number 5, and Samantha's got a ticket. We're 6.5 furlongs on a fast main track. These are fillies and mares 4 and up. The tag is 8. She goes $12. I like it. Just a smaller ticket here, 3 deep, and then she's got back-to-back singles. Plaisante. Now, that's a good one for Christophe Clement in race number 6. In race number 7, Small Reason. A couple key scratches in there. Small Reason is the single. 4 deep in the spread race, and the gang's all here. Judge Judith, Tamarindo, Riveting Spirit, and Mia Camilla. She can't separate them. We'll show the replay in C, and then 2 deep in the finale, Red, Hot, and Blue. And old Cappy trying to get it done with a little seconditis for Anna Mia off the claim. That's a $12 ticket. But back to race number 5 here on a fast main track. Everybody is in, and we've got a stat, Ghostly Night for me on top and for you as well. Rohan Crichton, he's pretty prolific off the claim in and of itself, but this kind of condenses it down a little bit.
Right, to narrow down all of his claims into this specific category of horses that were in for 10,000 or less. He's 4 for 13. He knows what he's looking for when he goes and buys a horse like this. She's put 2 wins back to back, and sometimes you look up and down the line and they take turns beating each other up. They've seen each other before, and the seconds and thirds start to stack up next to the wins. I think that Ghostly Night might be a tad underlaid on the board, but bringing that momentum in for a new barn, Jaramillo's aboard her, I thought that Ghostly Night would be in a very good spot to sit just off the pace and perhaps pounce on some horses who don't have that dimension to them.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, you see her. She's had no trouble advancing through her conditions. The 2L, the 3L, yes, she's taking on tougher. She's out of the restricted ranks today. But as you said, you've got a lot of horses in here with some losing streaks coming in. She's done nothing but win and now goes into a potent new barn. I think she's a big threat in here. I went with Domineering in second down on the inside. I thought she ran okay for 10 last time. Now she's getting thrown something here, cutting back, turf form, Tapeta form, 2-turn form. But at 6.5, maybe she can trip out a little bit.
Of course you like Domineering, but I thought that Domineering might have a bit too much work to do late. Cutting back from that and moving over to the dirt might be 2 things that I found as big strikes against Domineering. I went with a more consistent sort just to her outside Awesome Appeal in second. Awesome Appeal can show pace, can sit from just off the pace, is just a hard-knocking sort of filly. She's at the board in 12 of 19. She's hard to toss out in this situation because she always shows up, and you don't necessarily get that from the rest.
And she's got some speed as well, which, is never a bad thing in spots like these. We're a little different after the top pick, but I think Ghostly Night is the one in there. Late pick 4 time in race number 6. We are on a firm turf course, maiden special weight, 5 furlongs here for fillies and mares 4 and up. We'll take a look at my ticket, just $6, and there was a scratch a little bit later. I lost my top pick in race number 7. That was Bobby's Gift, so I'll scratch into Joe DiBaggio, Judge Judith, my best bet of the day, and then 3 deep in the finale with Sin Filtre on top for me. Just a $6 ticket. Maybe you get a little Fountain of Youth, bankroll money if you punch that one a few times. So we'll get to this one now. Maiden special weight, as I mentioned, firm turf course here. It's a tricky race. I know you're down to the inside of Queen of Light, who I gave a long look to as well.
And Queen of Light is making only her second start. Some of these have some more miles on the tires, and I thought that there was a lot of speed in here for her to run down. She drew the outside post in her debut, not an easy thing to do, especially going 5 furlongs, but she handled that all very well with class at Tampa. She made a good late close. She was a couple lengths behind. She was 3rd best that day, but it's another good foundation building sort of start. with a filly with just one to her, I would rather go that direction than with a horse who has proven over and over that they're okay with running underneath. And I thought that Gamble's Orb, Plaisant, She's Stormy, Cindy Lou Who, all at this point in their careers don't have many other desires but to go, go, go. And if they all take each other out, this is a race, and it's rare, I know, that I saw falling apart on the front end, and Queen of Light might be in the right place at the right time. Centeno came over to ride her. There's lots of things to like, and I'm hoping that we can get somewhere near 6-1 because that's very fair on a filly with this sort of resume. It's very light, but room for improvement.
Yeah, and she's not going to drop out the back. She was chasing 44-3 on debut. I think it's a great sign that they ship her over here. I mean, this is a barn that has not started any horses, does good work at Tampa Bay Downs, and you know what? They're running for a quarter over here, going to come over here, run for 84,000. It's a very strong point, and like you said, brings her jockey in as well. Never a bad thing. I like the post for Cindy Lou, who you know, certainly needed her comeback, didn't do a lot of running. I like that she still kept her speed. I think that's the positive out of that. Nick Palmer has won a few turf races here at the championship meet. To draw outside some of the other speed, I think, is beneficial as well. Going to get a lot of foundation off the Kentucky Downs turf run, too. And then we both have some interest in Feline. You've got her second, and that might be for a reason because she's done it 5 times in 9 starts.
Well, and, you know, sometimes history just keeps repeating itself. And Feline always puts herself in the race. No discredit to her. She always gives herself a shot at the top of the lane, but a lot of those shots have been on Tapeta, and Feline has had very good trips. So, you know, until she just gets over the hump and finds that killer instinct, I do keep her underneath, but she has the ability to pass horses just like my top choice. And if Queen of Light is not prepared for this sort of thing, or she doesn't like this turf course, Feline is a very likable horse that, again, can pass.
Yeah, and she lost to a horse that's going places. Little Jules, little Mike's little sister. Say that real quick a lot of times. And that was a solid enough turf debut, so maybe Feline can wake up now with that race behind her on a horse that, you know, has stakes in her future. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Fair assessment.
Yeah, back to a fast main track in race 7, and we lose the 2, 3, and 7 to the old scratch bug here. So we're down to a field of 4 in this 7-furlong claimer for the veterans here, 4-year-olds and up at 62.50. And we're going. I scratch into Joe. And did you have Joe DiBaggio on top?
I did have Joe DiBaggio on top. Yes, just that he drew to the outside of Here Comes Bullet. The scratch of the outside horse really helps Joe DiBaggio. If he runs anything like he did last time, he should win. I mean, that's just how it looks on paper. Obviously, they don't run that way, but I think that the scratches helped him more than most of his competition. Maybe not the inside horse, but I have him in third. If Joe DiBaggio brings back that form, he likes 7 furlongs a lot. Sometimes it does take a specialist to conquer 6.5, 7, some of these off-sprint distances, but he does it very, very well.
Yeah, and he's 5 for 10, as Angela hinted at, in the exacta at 7 furlongs, one of the coolest names around. And when he's with his friends, and he's certainly with his friends today, he's been very, very tough to beat, and he's typically running races a little better than these. Small Reason was Samantha's single, and we've both got this one in second, and he's going to have to probably work out a trip. Tone Phelan has been in such good form of late. He's hardly impossible if you're just trying to play against what's going to be a strong favorite.
Right, and that's very fair. I just thought that the scratches maybe harmed Small Reason and helped Joe DiBaggio more than the opposite, but I have them 1-2, and Small Reason will definitely capitalize if things get hot and heavy up front.
Yeah, exactly. He might be at the mercy of the pace a little bit, which plenty of it came out of there with the scratches. No scratches in race number 9. That's the feature here for the State Breds. We're going a mile on the turf for the fillies and mares, this optional claimer. It's a good one, too. I kind of joked a little bit, the gang's all here, and the reason I say that is because the top 6 finishers of the February 3rd race are all back. Let's take a look at it here because you've got Judge Judith. Well, Riveting Spirit won it, and we can't take anything away from her. Good job, Bob. Thank you. Here's Mia Camilla. Here's Riveting Spirit. Judge Judith out the back. I don't understand why. And here's Tamarindo. I'll throw it over to you.
Okay, we will watch these set up, and you want to keep an eye on Judge Judith in the back because she has to tap the brakes right there. Judge Judith is normally much closer to the lead. She got put out of her comfort zone in this spot, and Tyler Goffleone did keep her on the inside, and she was willing to rally up the rail. A lot of things to ask of a horse who's already out of her style, and Judge Judith still closes resolutely between horses. You did mention that Riveting Spirit gets up, and Riveting Spirit runs an excellent race. There's nothing wrong with the effort that she turned in, but the one from Judge Judith Judith just catches your eye more as they get close towards the wire. She does lose second in a bob, but Judge Judith ran an excellent race, all things considered. I know that Ronnie singled her in the pick six. Do you think he likes playing Judge Judith more or saying Judge Judith more? He just loves this horse, but all of us do today based on that trouble and the fact that she overcame a lot to nearly get there against some of the competition that she faces again today.
I bet her hard last time, thinking she was loose on the lead and she was out the back. She's going to be close today, and I think with this ground-saving post, it helps her as well. As you just saw, and as Angela mentioned, Riveting Spirit, you can't take anything away from her. She ran very well.
Yes, she did, and there's nothing wrong with what Riveting Spirit put together that day, and she doesn't give herself that trouble because she didn't break very slow. Now, Riveting Spirit is another versatile sort who's normally further back than she was that day. These two swap styles, Riveting Spirit came out ahead, but I would like to see just a clean run and may the best filly win. When you see these horses come back in against each other, sometimes they do switch around their order, and I think that's what we're all foreseeing today.
Yeah, Tamarindo split them last time, a little further down for you. I put her in second again. She did run well. We'll see about the pace today. Certainly Mia Camilla is going to try to wire him again. We've got the 8, My Sunny Valentine, to her outside with Jaramillo. I wonder if he presses her a little bit. It's a fun race because not only is it a good group, but there's a lot of different things going on, I think, in and of itself, the race. Like we said, Judge Judith, she's going to be closer today. Does anyone go with Mia Camilla? You know she's going to try to steal it again.
Well, right. When you already have that material to work with, when you've seen all of these run together, you have to get creative and see how it would set up in your mind the next time around. It's like if we run this race 10 times, there might be 10 different winners. I guess you could say that about this group because there is very little separating some of the big contenders in there.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's a fun race. I'll tell you what, you get a 9-1 in there, so that's a separator in all your horizontals as well. The finale, it's on the Tapeta. It's a maiden special weight. We route them. We stretch them out 1 mile and 3/16 for these fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. We've got some interest. You a little higher than me. Never been wrong. I tried to make this horse. I just thought the rise was a little too much for her, but I know you're kind of thinking, let's just be honest, not the toughest group of maiden special weights.
Well, if you're going to take a shot against maiden special weights and you liked what you got at the claim box, well, it's a compliment to Never Been Wrong. Yeah. Jack Sisterson picked this horse up out of her debut. She didn't lose it by much. She lost to 2 horses that did come back and win next time around. There's some things to like about her. Maybe not the price, but obviously they really liked what they picked up with her, and I think that she could potentially be closer as well today. She was stuck with an outside post. There were some things that could have made her run a much worse race than she did, and Luis Saez will hop aboard her, maybe get her, again, more into it, because I didn't see an overwhelming amount of pace to her inside or outside, and with just one start to her, you don't know really what you have yet, so maybe you have a really good Tapeta horse, and we'll find it out this afternoon.
Yeah, and to Jack's credit, he stays in his lane. He doesn't run horses where they don't belong, and the fact that he claims for 20, bops up to her maiden special weight, says, you know what, he likes what he's got here. She's not in for a tag. I always think that's important off the claim as well. I'm going to chalk out with Sinfiltre. I'm not going to bet this horse at 5-2, but that's just kind of where it landed. I thought her Tapeta race was okay. I did think she moved forward last time. She's no great shakes, but I feel like she's moving the right direction for Todd.
Well, and I did use her underneath, but I just don't like the fact that she's losing ground against some of the company that she's going to be running against today. Maybe she likes the Tapeta a lot too, but too bad she didn't really seem to run all that hot over it. So if you give her the excuse that she had the layoff that day, she needed the race, and maybe she's needed both of these races, we get her best shot today, and she wins as a short-priced favorite. That's fine, but I'm willing to bet against that considering all of the horses to her right and some of the less experienced horses to her right that could have more to show at a better number. So use her underneath. You use her on top. I won't talk you off her. I'll just tip the cap if she wins, and we'll go on to another day.
And you could make the case that Red Hot Blue is the horse to beat in here. I know she's 0 for 10. I know 6 of them been underneath. She got to the Tapeta last time. First start for Jimmy Toner on the Tapeta, and she ran big.
Yeah, and she'll be coming late. If things do get, if people do go after the lead, and it's very possible, you have some horses that could be fresh off layoffs, that could be changing things up. Cappy usually keeps herself in the race, but you don't see anybody that's devoted to going and taking the lead necessarily. Red Hot and Blue will be coming at the end. That part you know about her, and you don't know a whole bunch about the rest.
Yeah, it's just going to turn into a 2-furlong sprint off the far turn. It's just whoever's kind of quickening up the quickest is going to be tough in here. So that's the 9-pack today. Don't forget $1.5 million in the Rainbow kicking off in race 4. Before we leave you, though, it's lightning round time, and we'll lead it off with one of the good guys and one of the nicest guys. You're going to see the Hall of Famer Javier Castellano, and he's still got some chops to him. He's riding very, very well at the championship meet. 4-time Eclipse Award winner, wins the George Wolfe Award, and I'm pretty sure that trophy will be pretty high in his case as well.
Yes, and congratulations to him on that win. We have seen him really come to life in the last, I don't know, month or so. I've really seen him move some horses up, and a big congratulations to him. The accolades, I'm sure, won't end here for Javier Castellano if he keeps going in this direction.
And I know that's an award that is held in very high esteem in the jocks room around the country. The Devona Dale is one of the co-features on that power 9 stakes, 14 race card, Fountain of Youth. And this is a strong 3-year-old filly race. Atomically, we know so well. Infinite Diamond was awesome. Red Carpet Ready winning the Forward Gal, but I know you have a strong opinion of Undervalued Asset, who was second to her in the Forward Gal.
Yes, I know, and I'm hoping that the mile will level the playing field between these two, but regardless who comes out in front, the Devona Dale's produced a few Oaks winners in the past, and I think you have some serious contenders entered in the Devona Dale tomorrow, and I will be also interested to watch Atomically on the inside, see if she can return to form on her favorite track. It's just a very deep field, and you see horses come from different spots but come together for an excellent rendition of this race. I'm really excited to watch this one tomorrow. It's one of the 14 that I'm looking forward to the most. Yeah,
to me, it's hands down the best race not called the Fountain of Youth. And let's give Leave No Trace a shout out too. I don't want to disregard her for Phil Serpy, second in the Breeders' Cup, Grade 1 winner up at Saratoga last year. I mean, she's a champion if there was no Wonder Wheel. So this is a monster race. Looking forward to seeing that. Coast to Coast, I just filmed a little preview with Jeremy Plonk and Jeff Siegel, both Saturday and Sunday. It's all stakes on a monster card at Santa Anita as well, with the big cap. That's $1 minimum, 15% takeout. So those are going to be huge pools as well. It's huge pool Saturday here at Gulfstream Park and our sister track out at Santa Anita, and we're going to bookend the racing world basically top to bottom, 11 a.m. here. Your best bet today on the card?
My best bet today is in race number 3, hoping that she picks up her first win for her new trainer, Jane Sibeli.
Judge Judith for me in race 8, and your long shot?
My long shot comes up in race number 6. That's Queen of Light. She is going to make her second start. I have some inexperience from the rail. Best bet and long shot. We'll see what happens.
I am out with the long shot. I scratched out of it. Ken Sweezy, what are you doing to me today? But I've got no long shot, not allowed to have a couple of them. I got prices, though, and we'll talk about them throughout the card. And then last but certainly not least, Beat the Expert is tomorrow, and Ron Nicoletti is in the proverbial hot seat on 14 races. I think he's finishing up his picks in the office now.
Yeah, deep water. Everybody trying to beat the Expert.
But get involved in that. It's a great free contest, GulfstreamPark.com. If you beat the Expert, if you beat one of the hosts every Saturday, you get a free polo. We love to give them out. So there's just, again, so much to look forward to on the Saturday card. 11 a.m. We're going to remind you all day long. First post 11 a.m. Silks right over here to my right is going to open at 10 a.m. We hope to see you out here. The weather looks phenomenal, okay? It's an awesome day of racing. Huge pools, the Rainbow, the Fountain of Youth, essentially an automatic qualifier for the Kentucky Derby, and we get to see a 2-year-old champion, a Grade 1 winner in Blazing Sevens as well, Forte, the 2-year-old champion. We got Angela here, Samantha out on the turf, Ron Nicoletti, Claudia will be here as well. And who I haven't mentioned yet, and certainly not last but not least, Pete Aiello is upstairs to guide you through this 9-race Friday card, first post 12:10. Thanks for stopping by.
Introducing the first racing tool from Pegasus to Preakness. Iconic venues. World-class racing. Millions at stake. New champions will be crowned. Only at First.